And they're off. Got me on the right, got Alexis on the left. Got no idea what she's making that face about. I got no idea what she's talking to me about at the moment. But you should see the workout on the screen right now. We got 12-minute AMRAP, 15 calories for her, 18 calories for myself, followed by 15 either double dumbbell push presses if you're going RX, or if you're going RX Plus, you got handstand push-ups, and then you're finishing it up with 12 American kettlebell swings. Those are the ones where you go all the way up and overhead. Now you're going to see Alexis doing some lighter kettlebell swings. You're going to see her going Russian. She's got a little bit of a back tweak from some crazy capital-esque style workout with some sandbag that she was carrying around. So she tweaked her back, and she's not going to be doing anything crazy on this workout. She pushed herself on the bike. She pushes herself overall, and it just isn't smart sometimes to be. But it is smart to always work out every day. You should be moving. And what you're going to see us moving on right now are the Assault belt-driven bikes. I write fan bike on every workout because I don't know what sort of bike you got wherever you got your workout going on. It could be an Echo bike, could be an Airdyne, but for Alexis and I, it isn't just the Assault bike, which is generally using a chain. This is the newer belt-driven, which I feel is very, very similar to the Echo bike. But the reason I like these in here really is because I think they take up a smaller footprint. I don't got a metric on that Echo bike to Assault fan bike with the belt comparison, but the Echo bike, she took up so much space. So I sold my Echo bikes, got the Assault fan bikes. What am I calling them that for? They're just Assault bikes. I keep calling them fan bikes because I call them fan bikes. We're watching me do handstand push-ups, and I'm looking at my right elbow, and I like nothing about the way that my right elbow looks as I do these handstand push-ups. It's something that I can only do now as I review the footage of this. The other thing that I didn't like about that first set of 15 handstand push-ups is if this were the CrossFit Open, I did not establish my handstand position before I descended to my head. Alexis's feet look like they're a little bit wide on these as well. I really liked one of the handstand push-up standards with that line because it taught you to like reach through your heels, and in order to reach through your heels and get your feet above the line, you had to keep your feet pretty close. If you went wide, there wasn't really a keep your feet inside your arms, your hands, and people could subjectively say, well, from here it looks like there's a foot outside, and from here it looks like there's a foot inside, because if your feet were going wide, you weren't getting your heels over the white tape line. So I kind of liked that. And then there was also the box on the floor, which had different sorts of ways that they went about. Your fingers could touch, they couldn't touch, part of the finger could be touching. It's always been changing, but I have in the past liked the tape line. I didn't like the way that people would, try to cheat the tape line. And, oh, look, my elbows are locked out. No, they're not. People are cranked through their handstand push-ups. Brooke Wells is doing the potato camera from across the room, that entire deal. You're looking at me do this bike, and you're also probably thinking, could you be going faster? I mean, I don't know. I know that there's a goal of this at 4 rounds. I know that I was kind of going for 4 rounds on this, and at which you're thinking that's 72 total calories, 18 by 4, right? And if I were to just go and do 72 calories, I would probably say, what's the pace I could hold on that? And I'd want to start off with that pace. It's nothing crazy. There's Alexis doing her Russian kettlebell swings. If I were her, I'd probably keep her arms a wee bit straighter. There she goes. She fixed it. She did one where they're like really, really bent. Alexis watches these videos back sometimes, and she's like, why didn't you tell me that? And I'm like, well, I'm working out. Like, I'm trying to focus on trying to keep my 65 RPMs on the bike, which isn't anything crazy, but you can see me staring at it, and she'll say something like, you told me these things. I'm like, yeah, I know. My bad. I'll make sure I'm watching your workout in the middle of mine too. Thumbs up. I do that anyway. She's just biking over there. So I cut these things up so it makes sense. I could have her biking over in the corner, but Alexis, you'll understand. Everyone, she is indeed biking. This isn't some crazy spliced workout. Now, I had the elbow surgery. These do appear to be a little bit better as far as that right elbow goes. Also, see how I'll like pause on a couple of these at the top, like slight pause, and that's the extension. Damn, that doesn't look very good, does it? Gotta do some sort of crazy mobility work on. See, if I sit here and stretch it out, it looks pretty straight, but in that position, the handstand push-up position, even there, it looks a little bit more bent. And as we're doing these, everyone's favorite to judge, kettlebell swing. I like this combo a lot. And I don't think I see very many people ever doing really 70-pound kettlebell swings, but they're gnarly, they're dirty, they're nasty. One of my favorite combinations outside of the handstand push-up American kettlebell swing is the toes to bar American kettlebell swing. There's nothing quite like doing a 5-rounder of like 20 toe to bar, 20 American kettlebell swing with a 70. You're just not going to be able to hang on to the freaking dumbbell. And in this case, when you're done with this, you're never going to be able to like lower your shoulders again, because when you're doing the handstand push-ups, there's a little bit of that shrug that you're trying to get your head through on the handstand push-up, or at least you should be trying to get your head through on the handstand push-up, especially when you're doing a training piece like I'm doing right now. And that press, because when I like to do the kettlebell swing, I like to emphasize a little bit of a press to push the bottom of the kettlebell towards the ceiling. So when you're doing the toes to bar, it's all grip. When you're doing the kettlebell, when you're doing the handstand push-up, it's all traps and shoulders. And look freaking jacked, Andrew. You're making that assault bike look tiny. Earlier in this video, I told you it looked tiny. Now, could be going a little bit quicker. I don't know what Alexis is doing over here. She's been sitting there. She just sat there for a full 5 seconds before she got off it and wandered her way on over to the wall. Now let's see how she kicks up. Does she kick up and establish a handstand position? See, like she was good there. And with that line also, you had to have your heels above the line before you descended into your handstand push-up. It was like, you got it, now you can go. And it was also one of those where the second you came to the floor, people would do that entire thing where they would come to their head and they would rest, which is okay. But if your foot touched the ground while you were on your head, you had to reestablish both heels being above the line. And there Alexis goes again with her feet getting a little bit wide. If anything, I like on the gymnastics pieces to have a little bit more control as you're going about them. Now, earlier in workouts versus later in workouts, and we were sharing one spot. We talked about this before. I'm like, hey, when we get here, we're not going to be trying to like get both of us on this mat. I think I did a better job here. And my right elbow also seems to be, maybe it's just a warm-up thing. Had to warm up a little bit, and the more you do the work, the better they go. I'm pretty happy with this set of handstand push-ups with the way that it looks. I always tell everybody, and there's a couple of videos on this channel where I've said so as well, this is your best coach. I mean, I'm doing it right now. I'm watching my movement, and I can think about the next time that I do handstand push-ups. Alexis watches these. She can watch herself do handstand push-ups, and maybe she'll hear things like, oh, when I do my kettlebell swings, and Andrew said my elbows were bent on a couple of them. I should use my hips a little bit more and keep them straight, especially when I'm doing the Russian swings. Now, as I'm doing my swings, I see that my knee extension is lacking. I could be snapping my knees back. There should be a hip and a knee extension. And it looks like I'm just doing whatever I can to thrust that thing into the sky with just my hips. And also, now that I'm getting even more wound up, it looks like the kettlebell's coming forward a little bit. It's one of those things that I'm analyzing here with you guys for the first time. I haven't seen any of this stuff. And now that I'm on the bike, which is basically just wasteful, so I did glance at the clock, and I'm like, all right, I got 4 minutes. I knew the first round took about, I think it was like 2.5 or 3. And I also knew that the goal was 4. So as I'm playing this entire thing out, I'm asking myself, what do I need to get X distance on the next round? And I think that this is a very important game that anybody can play in their workouts. It's why I like to give goal times and time caps and advanced goal times within your workouts, so that as you're manipulating yourself within it, you can test yourself and push yourself at certain points, and it can help you either apply yourself more or remove yourself more. It just depends on the type of athlete that you are. So for me, I like to apply myself more by kind of unworking and reworking in the math. So if I knew the first round took 2.5, and I know I went 2.5 and then 5, and I'm like, all right, the second round took 3 minutes, and then the next round took 3 minutes, and all of a sudden you only have 2 minutes left, which I don't think that was correct, the math there. No, it was right. It was 2.5, then 3, then 3, and I don't have any of this on the screen. Maybe I'll do it after I'm done editing, but now I've got 4 minutes. If I do another 3-minute round, it should leave me with about a minute on the bike. And as I'm biking here, all I'm thinking about is, okay, if I have a minute on the bike, that's my push. I know I should be able to, any day of the week, if I want to, knock out 18 calories in a minute if I keep the bike over 70 RPM. Which in a former life, maybe I do the entire workout at 70 RPM, but every round, like I said, 72. And I even look at Alexis here, and she's moving a little bit harder on her bike, which is good. And maybe she heard my fan kick up a little bit, or maybe she's doing that in her head as well. Because I've talked about her with all of these things. But generally when Alexis is working out, she doesn't have all of these math equations going on in her head, and she isn't trying to unwork or rework anything. She's just trying to go as hard as she can while she's going. And also, I'm thinking, I got to get off of this wall as fast as possible. I also don't want to break. So that one looked good. And that final rep will always show what's potential for elbow lockout, because you got to really establish that final one. It's something that I see a lot of people doing before they finish up their final handstand push-up. They'll come down a wee bit too early. That first one, got to give you a no rep on that, Andrew. That first one did not count. And also, you really see the shoulders starting to lock up. And it's something that I can tell you after having done the workout, having sat in my body for 5 to 10 minutes afterwards. It's like everything's just shrugged up to the sky. And now I know next time I'm doing these swings, I have the aptitude to be, or maybe that's not quite the word, but that last rep look a little bit better than the 4 or 5 reps previous to it. They're getting a little bit far forward. I'm not going to attribute it to the camera lens. I'm going to say, yeah, I probably should have been pressing up a little bit harder. And as you can see, like, the clock was correct. Like, I had about a minute. So all of that, as I've been calling it, unworking and reworking of the times, which is something, again, I tell everybody that they should be thinking about. Now I have the chance to apply myself more and finish up the number of calories that I wanted within that amount of time. And you can see the bike is going visibly quicker. I mean, I think I've even got the sound on this. You can hear it going a little bit quicker. It's one of those cool coaching things that you pick up after a bit of, or years of coaching. Maybe you can hear the rowers and the way the fan will turn over along with the sound that the rower's making. You can also do so on the bike. So that's about 72, 73 RPM there. Alexis is making it through a workout where her entire back was thrown out from carrying a sandbag the wrong way. And I probably could have ran over to the wall and gotten a handstand push-up. But at the end of the day, it's just good to get a hard finish on the bike. It's a great training tool, and it's one of those terrible things to put into workouts because everyone just thinks, oh, it's so hard. We want to have hard workouts. You know how we have hard workouts? Easy way out. No, they're good for training, and it's up to you to program a good test if you're actually going to program a competition. That's all I got to say about any of that. Hope you enjoy this one. If you do the workouts, guys, put your scores in the comments section. See, did you beat me? Did you beat 4 plus 18 on this workout, even if you went RX or RX plus? I don't care. But thanks. Bye.